disturbed me at the end that had to do with things that weren't jobs, weren't education, and weren't public safety. That Vanderbilt bill I thought was passed was just a pretty bad bill. It was the biggest government intrusion of a private business or institution that I can ever remember, and I hope it's not. I hope it passed, but maybe something better can happen from that, because I just don't think it's a road that we should go down, and certainly it surprised me that the majority party wanted to go down that road. Then the health care compact bill that we had, which in my opinion would have brought Medicare to Tennessee. In other words, those that run TennCare would be running our Medicare program, and you know, if there's one thing I think that's working right, it's Medicare. And for us to upset that balance would just, in my opinion, you know, we've tried this with TennCare, and as I said, it ate our lunch, it ate our supper, it ate our breakfast, and ate both of our between meal snacks. And we certainly don't want to put 1 million of our senior citizens in jeopardy by doing that. And we were fortunate that in the 11th hour between houses with the conference committee that we were able to stop that bill. And I think that was something that gave us all a little bit of hope, all of us now, that Medicare would not be changed for 1 million Tennesseans. So, you know, maybe that's just a little overview of what happened.
Yes, I have a question for Speaker Naifeh. Mr. Speaker, I regret that I was not around to hear you make your statement yesterday. I read it in Rick's column. And I was impressed by, as I've always been impressed by your statements. But I wondered if you could tell me about some of the nuances of it. You seem to be saying, okay, as Joe just said, the Republicans have the numbers, they can do what they want, we follow the best we can, and you congratulated the leadership. You weren't throwing in the towel, though, were you? How permanent is this sea change that you were speaking about? Obviously, the 2010 elections were disastrous for Democrats. And I remember, Mr. Leader, you telling me in 2010 during the campaign it was the best class of candidates you'd seen, but it didn't work somehow. How permanent is this change, and is the Republican leadership going to be for a decade or what?
I wish I could answer that, Jackson, because no one knows, but I think the pendulum will change. After seeing how the Republicans have tried to govern, which they've done a very poor job of the last few years, the people will begin to see that the Democrats are the ones that really take care of people. And I did say that they won in the elections, therefore they had the right to make the changes they wanted to make, and they have. And not all of them good, as far as I'm concerned. That's basically what I was saying.
Jackson, I'm 57, and I hope it doesn't take a decade, because I don't know if my heart can take 10 more years of this. You know, I think one of the stories coming out of this 2-year session is the extreme leap rightward of the Republican Party, and that's not for the Democrats to define. We'll try to define at election time, but the analytical work of that should probably come from you guys. But I think it's pretty obvious that, you know, we had a traditional kind of Republican establishment in this state that was unique, probably even for the South, and that we sent a lot of people from Washington, Howard Baker, you know, Bill Frist, these guys over the years that were very successful because they brought a moderate, kind of responsible form of republicanism to bear. And these guys are in the minority, and they're running scared of the Tea Party and the other right, extreme right. So I think one of the stories, and like I said, it won't be defined to us, is I think is the leap rightward of the Republican Party. And I think you saw a few fractures of that this session, but I think a lot of the Republicans who are traditional fiscally responsible Republicans are having some second thoughts about that, and that should benefit us down the road maybe if the independents start feeling the same way, and we hopefully can get back quicker.
You know, the Haslams are known nationwide, and all of these bills, these crazy bills like the monkey bill, like all these other things, and when they get in the New York Times and they start talking about it, the family doesn't like that. Now, the governor could have vetoed some of these bills. Let them become law without his signature. That hadn't done a thing, except it goes into the law books. And that's just, and just like I told him yesterday, I guess, I said, Governor, you know you do have line item veto power in this budget, and I hope you use it.
Yeah.
Mr. Speaker, you think,
Go ahead, no, go ahead.
I was going to ask you to follow up on that. Do you think that hurts the appearance of Tennessee
Yes,
outside?
absolutely.
Especially concerning business.
I mean, we're the laughing stock in a lot of publications. Some of these crazy bills that these right-wingers have brought forth this year. Right-wing Republicans.
If you look at that Vanderbilt bill, it was the same thing that they tried to do in Washington to the Catholic Church. It's amazing to me, the government intrusion that the majority party is trying. This is a huge question, whatever the issue is, and it's not the issue with Vanderbilt. It's that that government is intruding on a private institutions' rights there, and it floored me.
You know, for so many years, I thought Tennessee was the leading example, the star of the South. I mean, we were much more progressive than the other southern states, and people like, you know, Al Gore Sr. to Washington, and the civil rights movement there was a lot of elected Democrats here in this state, elected officials in this state that made the right choice in that battle, and it was fought here, and as bad as Tennessee got, I knew it was always ahead of Mississippi and South Carolina and Alabama and those states. And then, you know, then the last few years, Arizona all of a sudden became the most extreme state out there in the country, to the point that some of the counties are talking about succeeding out there. They're so embarrassed by what's going on. Ladies and gentlemen, this year we passed Arizona as far as crazy stuff, and these guys are extremely proud of it. That's what scares me. I'm extremely embarrassed by it.
Not only that, I think Lee said on the House floor that that's detrimental to business. Okay, businesses, any progressive-minded business, know that's a volatile situation when you're going into a state of politics, as you've seen it displayed of late. And these guys, it's amazing how they change their mantra once they become in power. Before they got the power, they were anti-intrusion. They were anti-federal involvement. So they look like a bunch of hypocrites. When they get the power, they do just the opposite of what they have purported to be about, you know, which it makes you wonder about what they really stand for. But I'm like my lead over here. It is embarrassing. A lot of stuff's embarrassing. When you travel around the country, you're the butt of jokes from Tennessee. Okay, you're the butt of jokes because we have all this wacko stuff.
Isn't a lot of that the fault of the media, though, for covering this stuff?
Well, it's for the government, and I'll be honest with you, and I've said this too. He didn't want y'all focusing on some of this stuff, but I think you had to cover it. I want my Republican friends who I grew up with who are not extremists to realize that this is what you voted for, and this is what we got elected. But also, though, and the governor is right to a certain degree, and he might well be proud that you guys are focusing on this stuff, because like I said earlier, we're going to break down some of the things that we did in state government this year. You know, we've increased taxes. We cut taxes on the wealthy, and we've actually increased our debt here in Tennessee the last couple of years. Now, that's a trend that Washington's been going through. It's not a whole lot, but the fact is we've cut taxes on the wealthy and increased our state debt. Now, Washington has started out doing it in the big numbers like we're doing today either. So there's a lot of stories that's going to come out of this, and the governor might be thankful that these crazies kept some of his stuff off the front page. So, anything else?